Hi, this is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. Well, wouldn't it be great if we could reduce nutrition down to simple math equations? We could look at, package labels and decide, okay, we need this many vitamins A, B, C, this much energy, etc. And this is what we're going to utilize during the course of the day. So therefore, we just eat this and it's going to equal that, and we'll maintain our health and our weight, and everything will be health nirvana. Well, there's some problems with that, and let's go over each one. First one is this. It's as far as weight is concerned, it's not a math equation as far as calories in, calories out, because the idea of calories, which is a measure of energy, the idea is that, oh my gosh, the first rule of thermodynamics says that energy in has to equal energy out. So therefore, all we have to do is keep our calories constant and we're good. Well, that's not really true, because you're not a closed system. And the whole principle of the first law of thermodynamics is based on the idea that it's a closed system, basically a boiler, where, there's no escape except for the heat and the temperature, etc. And you're not that. Not everything gets absorbed, and that's crucial. I mean, take a look at, an apple. You can take an apple and you can squeeze it down and you can get the juice out of it, and you can drink that, and you're going to absorb a lot of that sugar. And you may be thinking, yay, I win because I know exactly how many calories I've absorbed by that system. The problem is that increases your blood glucose, which spikes your insulin, and your insulin is exceptionally good at taking blood glucose and converting it into fat. Well, one of the ways you may want to get around that is by eating the apple whole. Well, the problem with that is you're just creating expensive poo, because a lot of the glucose nutrients that are in an apple are tightly bound in the fiber, and your body can't absorb it because of the fiber and the anti-nutrients that are inherent within the apple. And as a result, you're just passing it through your body without it being absorbed. So you've just wasted money on stuff that you can't absorb. So, that's one aspect of it. The other one is, hey, look, if you go by a nutrition label, that can be off by up to 20%. That's something the government allows. And as a result, if you think you are getting your numbers down perfectly, and you're eating actually 20% more calories than you thought you were eating, you're going to be gaining 20% more weight. So that's not a great system either. See, that's not always a question of what you eat. It's a question of what's absorbed, the processing, etc. And frankly, if you're trying to make your diet based on plant-based sources, you got another problem too, because our plants are not as nutritious as they used to be. Back in the 1950s and 60s, when we actually planted crops in soil, which is full of nutrients and vibrant and full of life and minerals, and they rotated crops and stuff like that because they were trying to create nutritious plants. Well, they've done some studies in the last 40 years or so, where they've been looking at, okay, what are the plants that were like in the 1960s versus what they like in the new millennium, and they're coming up about 30 to 50% lower in terms of vitamins and minerals that we thought were in those plants. So you may be looking at a label that says it's got this much protein, this much magnesium, etc., and it's significantly lower now, because of modern monocrop agriculture, where we're growing plants in dirt, throwing a bunch of fertilizer on it, and it looks pretty much the same, but it isn't, because it's not the same soil, and it's not getting the same nutrients. On top of that, many plants carefully guard a lot of the nutrients, and you may be thinking, okay, that label says it's got this much vitamin A. The problem is your body can't absorb the vitamin A from the plant unless you do certain things to it, like ferment it or cook it or something like that, trying to unbound some of those nutrients. So you got a whole host of different problems trying to solve your problem and making yourself healthy by following nutrition labels and trying to reduce everything down to a math equation. It doesn't always work. It's not what you eat, it's what your body can absorb and what is in that food that is really crucial. Which is one of the reasons why I prefer a carnivore, low-carb diet. And the cool thing about eating a pretty much meat-based, egg-based diet is you pretty well know what's in there. That hasn't changed. Critters, cows do a fantastic job of converting grass into proteins, which can be utilized by the body. And there's a whole host of different macro or micro unit nutrients that are inherent within meat that help keep us going. And it's darn difficult to overeat meat because it releases a chemical in our system called a GLP-1, which is the same thing that we find in Ozempic. It signals us when we're full, when we are satisfied, when we get enough protein in our system. The body signals that we've had enough, and that's why you feel nauseous if you try to eat one more bite of steak when you're already feeling pretty darn full. Same thing that GLP-1 does, except the problem is that does it when you eat Doritos. So you eat a bunch of Doritos, even though there's no nutrients in it, you still feel that, it sends out artificially the same signal that you would get if you're eating steak or meat. Therein kind of lies the problem with GLP-1s, which is one of the reasons why many people that take those things realize that they've lost half their weight in terms of lean tissue. So they're losing bone and muscle instead of the fat. Half the weight they're losing is the stuff that they actually really need to live and to be healthy. So why do it? Why take chemicals that cause you to lose weight artificially when you could do it perfectly naturally by eating meat and make yourself feel satisfied, maintain stasis, get the nutrients that you can easily absorb? And that's one of the reasons why I'm a big proponent of eating a meat-heavy diet. It works. It's simple. It's absorbable. This is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. I try to put out a couple messages each week. And remember, in this fight for our health, we are all alone in this, but we can all be alone in this together. And this is just another reminder of just the real power of good, nutritious meat as far as helping you to remain healthy. I try to put out a couple messages each week. I will talk to you again soon.